Hello, today we're going to be making cookies in the sky.
Alright, so you're going to need a casserole dish, that's what I call this, about this big. You're going to need a bowl and just fill it with milk, not all the way, and I'll show you why later. You want Cool Whip, you want chocolate chip cookies, and then chocolate chips. I normally use the mini ones for at the end. So, like he said, we're making cookies in the sky. So what you're going to do is you're going to, oh, that's a broken cookie. Let's try this again. You're going to take a cookie and you're going to dunk it in the milk really quick. You don't want it to soak in there because it soaks it up on its own. So you're going to just do that repetitively, just real quick. And you're lining the bottom of the pan. There's nothing already on the pan. You don't spray it, obviously, because this is a no-bake dessert. You don't have to put it in the oven or anything. So you just dunk and then stick it on the bottom, and I'll show you in a minute once it's lined. And I suggest getting a family size pack of any cookies that you use, or you can make homemade. That's fine too. I just went the easier route and did store-bought. But get a family pack or make a lot. That way you have multiple layers and it's not just primarily Cool Whip. Okay, so this is a loose layer, but that's fine with what we're doing. Okay, so next, so you want the Cool Whip to sit out of the freezer or the fridge, wherever you put it, for about an hour, because you want it to look like this. This is like what I call marshmallow cream. It kind of looks like that. You want it to be flexible or pliable enough to make a layer, so you get a big scoop. You're gonna get it in there. You want a lot in there. I have 2 tubs of this, just in case we need, which we might need later. Use a lot, and then you smear it, just roughly with I use a big spoon. And this is more for your eating pleasure than how good it necessarily looks. So what I try to do is just smear to the edges of the pan. That way there's a lot in it. So I'll show you. Layer of Cool Whip. Basically until you can't see the cookies anymore. So you're going to keep dunking cookies, layering them on. Sometimes if I don't think I have enough cookies, then I will layer 2 layers of cookies on top of each other, but I normally do that once I get to the top, when I know I have enough cookies. You like to pack them in nice and tight so you can get as many layers as you possibly can, because that's the name of the game for cookies in the sky. There's lots of layers. And see how fast I'm going? That's about how fast you want to go, because otherwise your cookies will get really soggy and they won't taste as good in the dessert. Alright, now I'm going to do another layer of Cool Whip. And I'd stir it around a bit. It also helps warm the Cool Whip up a bit, so it's a lot more pliable. Get big spoonfuls. And then smear it out again. Need a bit more on this layer. And on these 2 layers I've almost used, I believe this is a 16-ounce container of Cool Whip. So I'd suggest, I don't know if there are 24 ounces, but I got 2 16 ounces. That looks good. Here, I'll just mix that up a little bit. Okay. Doing the next layer, more cookies. So I normally do about 2 to 3 or sometimes even 4 layers. That's normally what fits in this size pan. That's good. Let's see. So I think I'm gonna have enough cookies, so I'm gonna put them on thick, this layer. So I'll show you. Now I'm not gonna do like one on top of another necessarily, but just a bit more than I've been putting on other layers. Cover more surface area. And I could probably fit one more layer, maybe even 2 more layers, we'll see. Alright, so in this one you can definitely tell I put more cookies in it. It's because I knew I would have enough. Now I'm going to scrape the rest of the Cool Whip out of this container. Plop it on in there. I'm going to smear that just a little bit, and if I need more, I'll open my other container. I mean, I'm going to need more because I'm going to do another layer. I think I've done about 3 or 4 in this one. I think that's normally about how much I do, is 3 or 4. So that looks good for this layer, so I can wait and open the next one on the next layer. I think this next one will be our last one. Let me go ahead and get the Cool Whip real quick. Alright, so this one's been sitting out too. It's a little more thick, but that's okay. You can work with that. Alright, go back to the cookie layer. And when your milk starts getting a little short, you don't necessarily dunk it. You can flip it around, the cookies around if you want. Just be fast, because like I said, they're not very good when they're soggy. You just want them dipped in milk very fast. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pile on the rest of these cookies on the top layer, because I think I'm going to put Cool Whip on this layer, and then I'll show you the very end momentarily. Alright, last cookie gets dunked in the milk, put on there. So now we're done with that. We're going to take our final layer of Cool Whip. We'll make this one a big one, because I'll show you what we're going to do in a minute. Make this a thick layer of Cool Whip. So I guess this one doesn't really matter as much if it's a little more melty or not, because we're going to add a bit more. But you do want to make sure that you cover all the cookies on this layer, and I will show you why in just a minute. So I'd say that probably looks pretty good. I'm going to show you. Thick and fully covered over that. So now, since we're done with our layers, I think I did about 3 or 4 layers. We're going to take mini chocolate chips. That's what I like to do, is mini chocolate chips. And you're just going to, let's see. I'll do it this way. I like to cut just a little triangle, not the whole thing, because this is a little easier to control. And you just shake. And you just want to cover the top of this. Let's see. I like to pat it down a bit so it stays a little easilier. Don't think that's a word, but I just made it up. You're welcome. Makes it easier. That's what I'm thinking of. So I'll add a bit more. You know what? Sometimes I just go ahead and use the whole bag. You might as well, right? Chocolate's amazing. And just kind of smear them out. Get them all the way to the edges. That's why we put the Cool Whip on thick, is because we wanted to use all the surface area to put all those chocolate chips in and pat it down, make it kind of flat.